everybody, welcome back to The Desk. Hey, I thought it was in Nick's contract that he wasn't allowed to sit down as a field reporter.
I wrote that in, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that. We'll have to double check that clause here. Hey, everybody, welcome back. I'm Todd Fortier. We're back at The Desk here at reInvent Day 3 Wednesday. It's a Wednesday, and I'm joined with my AWS streaming hero, AM.
Hi.
Pay up.
Yeah, every time he says it, I got to pay him $20. Hey, I'm AM Grabelli. I am a developer advocate here at AWS, and we're here to talk about threats. Those are those things that Nick makes at me all the time. He's always threatening me. I want that on record. That's also part of his contract that he has to stop threatening
I think we have a service that can help you with that.
Yeah, but we have a guest to talk to us about threats and actual threats, not just the ones that Nick makes. Those are... Anyway, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Shachar Hirschberg. I'm a product manager at Amazon GuardDuty. Excited to be here today again. I've been here multiple times, but honestly, this is probably the most exciting feature I've had the chance to cover so far. So really excited for today.
That's right. Shachar is a seasoned pro. He's virtually a host at this point. I just did a session with Shachar not too long ago, and it was great. We talked about GuardDuty again. We're here to talk about it, but we're talking about extended threat protection. So for our audience that's listening right now, remind us what GuardDuty is, and then what we've done to extend the detections of threats.
Absolutely. So GuardDuty is our threat detection service, and that means it helps you detect active attacks in your cloud environment. And for example, some things that can detect is if your credentials were compromised, if there is some crypto mining happening in your instances. And the goal is to help you detect it as early as possible so you can mitigate it before it will impact your business. And over the past several years, we added a lot of different protection plans for GuardDuty to help you detect all sorts of potential threats to your applications and data residing in AWS. And just earlier this week, we announced GuardDuty Extended Threat Detection, which is the next evolution of our service.
Yeah, we were talking through before we went live, and this is something I've been in this industry before. Actually, I've worked in security a bit myself, and this is something you spend a lot of time on, actually. Signals are coming from lots of different places, and you spend a lot of time kind of correlating those signals to try and determine, obviously root cause, obviously the vector of the attack, all these things, and that's not necessarily really useful, time allocation, because you really need to be responding to it, right, and mitigating it. So tell me about extended threat detection and how that is going to make my life better because I don't have to go and correlate these things as much.
Absolutely. And, until today, GuardDuty really focused on providing deep protection for individual data sources. So we help you detect threats across them. But now with the extended threat detection, we put the puzzle pieces together. So instead of you having to look at all the individual GuardDuty findings, you can get what we call attack sequences. It's a new type of finding we released. This is the output of the extended threat detection. And these new detections, and we'll see them in a moment, help you put the pieces together because we already do it on your behalf. So you just need to go in there, see what happened, learn from the summary that we curate for you, and then take action. And you can do it faster now because, like you said, we don't need to spend time triaging all the individual findings and understanding how to relate to each other.
Yeah, let's talk about attack sequences. This was a new concept to me not long ago, but when an attack is occurring, there are patterns that start to emerge that maybe are indications that an attack is happening or a certain type of attack is happening. And those are what we call sequences. So we've started to use machine learning and AI to detect those patterns and bubble up those findings more quickly so that you can respond more quickly. And you don't have to recognize or detect those patterns yourself. Am I close?
Yeah, you got it right.
See, it's like I've heard this before. I might have heard this before.
It's amazing. I'm so proud of you.
I should be a security. No, I like what I do. I'm going to stick with what I'm doing.
Yeah. And AWS, we work backwards, right? So in this case, we work backwards from the two most, let's call it, common and important type of threats that we've seen with customers. The first one is compromised credentials, which remain the most common initial access.
Yeah, that's everywhere.
It's been true for a long time.
Exactly. So we help you detect these kind of scenarios earlier and, in a more actionable manner. And the second one is compromise to data residing in S3, because data remains the most important organizational assets for pretty much every customer.
That's right. And so we're going to keep chatting about this, but I'm kind of eager to see this demo, get into it, make sure we got enough time, because this is a really cool feature.
Let's pull up the screen.
Screen is on its way, and there it is.
Hey, you're up.
Awesome. So we're now in the GuardDuty console, and in this case, you might be starting your day, you might be working through the different alerts and different tooling you have throughout. And in the summary page, you're now able to see, we added the new overview widget, and you're able to see attack sequences that exist in your environment. One key thing I want to highlight is that this new type of finding is a critical severity. GuardDuty has never had critical severity. We waited 7 years since we initially launched the service and reserved the critical severity level to the most important and highest confidence type of threats. So my recommendation for the people at home, when you use GuardDuty and you think about your strategy, how to notify your security team on different alerts, set a notification, whether it's email or pager, but basically if you have one thing you want to wake up people in the middle of the night on, these types of findings. That's a big my recommendation.
It's really important. Like people don't necessarily, who are not in the security side full time, don't necessarily know. But this is a real problem of alert fatigue, right? Yes. And it becomes this growing kind of like, oh well, does high really mean high? Are we using it correctly? Well, I can ignore this one because it's that. So it is important to actually assign these correctly.
Hey, Shakar, we've got a question in the chat, and it refers back to something you said earlier as credentials being one of the most common. Ultra Jesus says, how does GuardDuty know that credentials are compromised, and what are the patterns that it's looking for? Is that something you can help us with?
So let's hold on to it in a minute, and then I'll show it in a finding.
We're going to stuff that in our back pocket. We're going to get back to that. Okay. Oh, yeah. That's even better.
Yeah. And in the console, just to show the ratio, if you look, even here, we have a pretty good example. Like you overall have like about almost 400 different findings here. And all of them are important and can indicate some sort of activity, but you only have 5 attack sequences over the past 30 days. And this is the kind of ratio we're going for. Like you really shouldn't expect many of these, but when you get them, you should pay attention. Now, let's dive into one of the findings. So in this case, we're looking at a compromised data type of finding. It's an attack sequence. One new thing that some of the people at home may notice is that we now have a full page view for GuardDuty. Until today, it was only just a side panel, and this new page helps you see more easily. And let's talk a bit about how we do this magic.
Can I pause you just for a second too? Because we forgot, and actually it makes a little bit more sense because we've talked a little bit about extended threat detection now. We have a poll question.
Oh yeah,
got
a poll question up.
Let me ask everybody. We'll get that poll up for you. In your organization, which benefit of GuardDuty extended threat detection would have the most impact? And we've got some choices for you there. All right, they're going to answer this.
The answers are coming in now,
and we'll revisit before we wrap up.
Awesome.
But, sorry, go back. I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's great. Now, can't wait to see the results. All right, so we're now in the GuardDuty console again. In the attack sequence that indicates compromise of data, we can see that GuardDuty has correlated with 4 different signals. These signals can be both findings, but also other weak signals that we observe but don't necessarily send out to not overwhelm customers with alerts. But if we see them relate to this activity, we will put them in together. And we can learn about who did the activity, in this case, the specific username, the admin username, and the principal ID. And this is important because you might want to go and search for other activities that this principal has done in your cloud environment. We can see where the activity happened, in this case, this specific account, and that it happened across 15 minutes. We use a 24-hour rolling time window, which means that we look across the 24 hours to detect these kind of scenarios. If we see something, we will extend it. And now, going back to your question before, so how do we decide if we're going to flag something as an attack sequence?
Yeah,
Because
is it normal behavior or is this abnormal?
exactly. So we use a combination of machine learning, rules, threat intelligence, artificial intelligence, all to help detect these utmost important threats. And as a security professional, or just a customer using GuardDuty, to help you understand why it's important, we added mapping to Mitre attack tactics and techniques. And this has been a long-standing customer request because it uses as a universal way to understand what happened. And in this case, we can see that this incident really escalated from initial access to defense evasion, all the way up to impact and exfiltration. So when we as a GuardDuty see the combination of all of these different activities taking by the same user over 15 minutes, we say, hey, maybe this is something that is worth flagging out. And if you want to learn deeper about what exactly happened, you can first use the techniques, for example, to see that a specific technique of disabling cloud logs were used or data manipulation. But you can also dive deeper all the way to which specific APIs were called. And, if in the past you had to go in each and every finding and dive deeper and then connect it and try to put it all together, now it's super easy. You can just look at the attack sequences and you have everything right here. And in this specific case, the APIs are pretty concerning. Someone has attempted to delete CloudTrail trail, which
that's usually a pretty good indicator immediately that they're about to do something,
exactly,
or have just done something.
I know, and
yeah,
after
that they're
that,
not supposed to.
They created a new access key, trying to persist their access, disabled, made an S3 bucket public, and then got and deleted objects. Right, all together, looks pretty suspicious, right?
Yeah.
You want to take a deeper look. And then
they're covering their tracks.
It looks suspicious.
Todd.
That's just my face.
No, they are. They're covering their tracks. That's what's happening here.
Okay. Yeah. Mitre tactics. This is a whole world of security that I was unfamiliar with. And Shakar, I learn something new from you every time I talk. Okay, so you've actually mapped it to the Mitre attack. I can see those ones highlighted there. Those are the ones. These are the tactics that our attacker is using to try to infiltrate or get something out of your account.
Exactly.
Okay.
And if you would want to learn more about, on initial access, for example, what I just clicked, what exactly happened, you're able to see the exact signals, in this case, findings that relate to them, and then, click to learn more if you want. But GuardDuty already, has done the work of putting the pieces together so you can learn from the high-level understanding. And what we also added to give you the intuition about why GuardDuty flagged it as such a suspicious activity is the indicator section. And it can be a combination of multiple things. It can be like classic indicators of compromise. For example, hey, someone communicated from a suspicious IP that were likely flagged. But it can also be these, things that more relate to being cloud-native detection, such as knowing which APIs are high risk, such as the deletion of CloudTrail trail.
Covering your tracks.
Mm-hmm. And there are
always cover
thousands of CloudTrail APIs, but we in GuardDuty have done the work to map them and identify which ones are really important for you to.
Yeah, some are more suspicious than others.
Exactly.
We've got another question from chat. Does it show only successful API calls or also unauthorized API calls?
It depends which type of finding. It's a great question. Depends which type of finding. Sometimes we'll show unsuccessful attempts and successful attempts, and sometimes we'll show just successful.
And that's part of that persistence, right? If something continues to happen, it's persistently happening. If it's unsuccessful, they're going to try again and persist and trying to, or am I getting that wrong? You're shaking your head. You look skeptical.
It's part of the persistence of an attacker to try to gain access or impact. It won't necessarily be classified as the part of a persistence techniques. It could be. Depends of which APIs were called.
I heard stay in your lane.
Yes, but I mean, this makes a lot of sense, right? Like there are patterns that attackers use to establish that they, have, because you might be getting these credentials as an attacker from who knows where, right? And you don't know if they're real or not, so you have to test out. So there's like these things, and once you do it, like deleting CloudTrail so that people can't detect what you've done, these are all patterns that we've identified as attack patterns.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that we identified is a key point, because the adversaries keep changing their techniques.
Of course.
Right? Like every day they try to find new ways to get in or to hide their traces. And we're using the visibility we have as AWS to detect not only common attack techniques, but also emerging ones. Because we see so many different AWS accounts and we have visibility into a lot of threat intelligence, we can quickly add these types of, let's call it, techniques or patterns and detect them very early.
Yeah, sorry, Todd. This is a huge part of security research, right? Like this is what a lot of the security industry is dedicated to doing. We had a comment from chat also. Pillbox Gaming says, even with the patterns, experienced attackers can act differently to try to throw off suspicion.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And
Sorry,
this is
Todd.
why we don't share exactly which patterns are we looking for. So the attackers want to know exactly what not to do.
Yes.
Pop culture reference, kind of like in Dune 2 where they're walking in the sand all kind of weird so that the worm doesn't detect that they're walking. That's what I'm thinking about. But no, what I was going to say is what I love about your demo, Shakar, is there's so much valuable information packed into one screen, which is really impressive, right? We're mapping to Mitre tactics. We are showing you exactly what APIs are happening. We're giving you who did it, when they did it. That's a lot. So that's the left side. What's on the right side here?
Yeah. So on the right side of the screen, we can see all the actual activities that happen. If on the left it was the context, then on the right side, okay, what actually happened? And you can view it newest first or oldest first. I like to start with newest first to I think about it as stop the bleeding, see what was the latest thing that happened, and work from there. But some people like to see how the story evolved, and they can also view it from oldest first and view the timeline. And for each specific signal, they can see more information about it. So for example, we mentioned earlier the CloudTrail deletion. We can click on it, see exactly what finding was it, what are the details. For each specific signals, we also have the summary of the indicators, which networks it happened from, and so on and so forth. And one last thing I'll show is that we also have a pivot by the resources, because in the end, it's also about what was impacted, if any.
How to mitigate too. Like you need to know what was impacted in order to go take action.
Exactly. So, we were talking about some data exfiltration that happened. We can see the S3 bucket, exactly which one, what was the exfiltration, what was the signal that was associated with it. And if we want, we can even pivot directly to the GuardDuty, to the S3 console to learn more about it. So, overall, these new findings provide with a lot more details to help you take action. So you can spend less time, looking at the individual findings and piecing them together, and more so on, probably taking 1 minute or even 5, but really understand what happened.
So Shakar, we've got 1 minute. I was gonna say we've run out of time. I want to say, one, there's a lot of engagement in the chat. A lot of people asking good questions.
Can we bring up the poll too?
But we want to check in on the poll, and then I'm going to ask you where they can go to get answers. How are we doing on that poll?
All right. There we go.
Okay.
It's
even. Ooh, you stumped him, Shakar.
Okay. Love it.
All right. Pretty easy.
Shall we reveal the answer? No, wait, there's no answer.
There's whatever is
this is
important
their
to you,
answer.
Todd.
This is them. I thought it was like a trivia quiz. Where am I at?
We got to move on, unfortunately. So should they go to the GuardDuty?
Yeah, go to the GuardDuty page, start using GuardDuty. These capabilities enable automatically. So if you're already a GuardDuty customer, you don't need to take any additional action. It's available at no additional cost, which is great for, lots of people are happy about that.
Yeah.
And if you enable additional GuardDuty protection plans, such as S3 protection, we will be able to create more security value for you because we'll see more telemetry.
I love it. Now, I get why you're so excited to be up here. This is amazing. This is truly great. We are about to go to Rupa Borno's keynote, so I want you all to stay here and check it out.